Back to the NC State Insider Podcast. I'm your host and lead beat writer, Tucker Sennett, joining you here today to discuss what went wrong in NC State's loss to Auburn in the ACC SEC Challenge. That's number 20 Auburn, as Will Wade and Wolfpack men's basketball made the trip to the Plains to play in one of college basketball's most hostile environments. Neville Arena, also known as the Jungle, as local fans call it. Um, Really one of the more difficult places to win on the road in the sport. And NC State fell 83 to 73 to the Tigers, who will continue their rise through the SEC. Well, NC State is on a little bit of a early season tumble here in the non-conference. The Wolfpack's really trying to, figure things out here defensively. They're trying to maintain that potent offense that they showed throughout the first four games. And NC State scored 73 points in this game, lowest output of the season, but still, an amount that should keep NC State in games. And while the defensive effort was not, where I think a lot of NC State fans would like it to be overall, um, there were some improvements. However, two guys on the scouting report just absolutely blew NC State's doors off. Kevin Overton, who I'm sure was probably not one of the key figures. He scored 29 points, drilled six three-pointers, made eight of his 13 shots from the field. And then Keyshawn Hall, who is the Tigers' leading scorer. He's one of their, I mean, he probably is their best player outside of Tahad Pettiford, who Pettiford had a poor shooting performance, shot just one of seven from the field, didn't make a three. Hall made up for that big time. Same with Overton, obviously. Hall scored 28 points, 9 of 14 from the field, 5 of 7 from three, and 10 rebounds. He's kind of their do-it-all guy. So when add up the threes between Overton and Hall, that's 11 threes, and Auburn made 12 in the game. So got just one other three-pointer from one other player, shooting about 12 of 22 from beyond the arc, which obviously is a pretty impressive number. They also shot 19 of 22 from the free throw line, but NC State outshot them. So, I mean, I'll describe it the way Will Wade did. They just made more threes than NC State did, and I'm encouraged by that because it's sort of a statistical issue, but it's also a continuing issue with this defense that NC State is giving up some of these shots that are borderline unacceptable for a team that, you know, has higher aspirations defensively. NC State likes to bring that double down low, and Auburn was able to spray those passes out with pretty solid effectiveness, of solid efficiency, and knock down those threes to Overton and Hall. And sure, there were some shots like Hall had a crazy one in the corner that kind of felt like it took the air out of NC State. That probably aren't going to go in with great consistency, but when you're relying on those analytics rather than, beating the shooter or beating the pass to the shooter, getting a hand up and making sure these are contested threes rather than just, bombs away, that can be dangerous. And NC State has run into that a few times. And Auburn, shot the ball really well. They shot 26 of 44 from the field. Again, NC State outshot them by 20 shots. So that's sort of a statistical anomaly, but you can't rely on your offense to bail you out when the opposing team is playing that efficiently. And obviously the free throw discrepancy was an issue that it was NC State made eight less free throws. So, if they make even seven of those, it's a 3-point game at the end of the game, and then you're looking at maybe having a shot to tie things. So, that's a major issue. Darian Williams is struggling against these high level teams that are, making him the focal point of the scouting report, which was something that I'm not going to say I had concerns about, but I think the ramped up competition has hurt him just because it's all kind of come very fast. And luckily for NC State, Quadir Copeland has really stepped up to the plate, handling the scoring load. Trey Hallman is continuing to be another really solid option scoring the basketball, but NC State's going to have to find another guy on nights like this that can get into that 15-point range. I know Lubin had 12 last night, but probably needs to get a little bit more production out of him moving forward. On nights when Williams is really struggling. And you also have had, Paul McNeil kind of disappear in a couple of these games. Had 7 points in this one, made just one of his five threes. He's a guy that NC State's going to need to have score with more consistency as the season moves on. And you just can't afford to have three of your start or two of your starters and then arguably your best bench player, Matt Abel, really struggling to shoot the ball. As Williams went 4 of 11, McNeil went 3 of 9, and then Matt Abel off the bench went 2 of 11 and made just one of his six threes. So if you get even 10 points from Abel, 8 points even, get closer to 15 from Williams and get closer to 12 from McNeil, totally different ball game. And to me, that's more an issue of shot making than it is of anything that Auburn did for McNeil and Abel. I do understand Williams is sort of again, like I said, the focal point of the defense. So that's something that NC State's going to have to find a way to kind of get him out of. And the best way to do that is to have other guys being able to knock down shots with great efficiency. My final point is, NC State did a really good job forcing turnovers in this game, and they didn't turn the ball. They had a 14-9 assist to turnover ratio. Even so, um, they're going to have to find a way to be more efficient in transition. They did outscore Auburn with those points off turnovers. However, NC State had just 28 fast break points, while Auburn had 26 with significantly less or fewer opportunities to get out and run. So NC State's going to have to find a way to be a more efficient team in transition, to knock down threes in transition and attack on the fly rather than, in the half court, unless there's a massive improvement in the half court offense in the next couple weeks. They'll have some opportunities to get this thing turned around before the conference campaign gets going. Two more games against, what will be quality opponents in terms of non-con opposition. They'll have Kansas and they'll have Ole Miss in that neutral site game in Greensboro. And of course, there's a couple more games on the schedule. Liberty could be an interesting one that pops into the quad two range depending on how the Flames season goes. But everything else is a must win for this team, and NC State's really going to have to find a way to win to those two, the Ole Miss game and the Kansas game, if it wants to have the best possible resume that it still can heading into ACC play. As always, thanks for tuning in to the NC State Insider Podcast. I'm your host and lead beat writer, Tucker Sennett, once again. And if you want more content, go ahead and follow me on social media at Sennett Tucker on X. You can follow the website on social media at Wolfpack on SI. And of course, get daily episodes of the NC State Insider Podcast on the Sports Videos on SI YouTube channel. Hope you're all having a great day, and we'll see you next time.